I want to help you to build the collection you deserve as I build my own. And one of the ways that I do that is delving into these Arabian fragrances and finding the gems among the bunch. And that requires a little bit of blind buying, but also a lot of sampling. In today's video, I'm going to share 10, count them, 10 Arabian fruity fragrances that I sampled in the month of November that I want to share with you, just in case you're looking for a fruity Arabian fragrance yourself because you like to smell nice without overspending. And Arabian fragrances help you and me to do that. So that sounds like your kind of thing. You're interested in affordable fragrances and Arabian specific fragrances at that, then stick around and let's get into it.
What you doing on me? Let me know how you feel. Make it time for ya. If it's real, we can build, hold it.
Hi, I'm Jeanique and welcome to this month's Scent Expedition. Now, this is a series on my channel where I sample my perfume loving heart out around a particular theme, whether it's a brand or it's florals or it's vanillas or it's niche, it's Arabian, it's whatever. I will link the playlist above, so if you're interested in more of my sampling videos, you know where to go find them. Today it's all about fruity Arabian fragrances because I've been on an Arabian run for the last few weeks because that's all I've wanted in my life. Except my next scent expedition, though, just in case you were curious, is going to be floral Arabian fragrances because y'all knew if I had a fruity one, a floral one was coming. And if I can make a vanilla one happen as well, that one is coming as well because y'all know me. That's what I love. Fruit, floral, vanillas, basically. Now, if you like a perfuming video like this one, then, and you like having fun, and you like me, then you should subscribe because it's fun over here. It's a vibe. We talk all kinds of fragrances, designer, niche, Arabian, fruity, floral, girly, more girly, extra girly, sometimes unisex, but not really. If that sounds like your kind of thing, subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much for showing me love. I appreciate you. And thank you again. Now let's get into this video, y'all, because I have so much to say and so little time to go through all of it.
Make it time for ya. If it's real, we can build, hold it down for ya. I can tell with some.
Now, y'all know how I feel about a category. We always got categories. And the three main categories this time around are unisex heading towards masculine, so it's a no for me. We're going to talk about it anyway because some of them smell real nice. Like, I would gift it, I just would not wear it personally for the most part. Second, we got like a whole bunch of Paris Corner. I did not realize how many Paris Corner fragrances was in this lineup. So they get their own category, the dupes of it all. And then we have everybody else. And then we have an MVP. So we have 10 fragrances in this video. I've tried to split it up, make it make sense. But it's all fruity, it's all love, it's all wonderful. Let's get started. So I'm going to start off with Paris Corner, the category, primarily because one of my favorite fragrances comes from this set, as well as the fact that everything here is pretty consistent. We have a mango fragrance, we have an apple fragrance, we have a pear fragrance. That's it. It's a lot of fruit and a lot of fun. I'm going to start off with my favorite of all of the three, and it is Pear Potion from Paris Corner. This is pear flavored gummy bears on steroids. It is sweet, it is sticky, it is yummy, it is sugary and a little bit tart. It is beautiful. We have some pear and some apple together, some caramel, some raspberry, some musk. It is essentially sticky sweetness, a whole bunch of fruit, a little bit of floral. I think there's like a very light jasmine in here, not doing much work. It's really just over the top, drenched, sticky sweet, overflowing, sweet concentrated pear with a little bit of tartness, a little bit of muskiness, some caramel for stickiness and sweetness and warmth. And together, it is such a fun and fire fragrance. It is easygoing, it is summery, it is playful, it is youthful, and I very much enjoyed this one, and I wish I'd picked it up because I was on the fence about whether this would be good. Some of the reviews are mixed, I think partly because the longevity isn't amazing, but it's such a fun fragrance that is really affordable that if I am looking for candy sweet pear anytime soon, which I am basically, then I would jump into this and jump on this real fast. I loved Pear Potion from from Paris Corner for just being a really like lighthearted, fun, sweet pear fragrance that doesn't try too hard to be anything but that. The second favorite in the Paris Corner bunch was Mango Bliss. Now, this is supposed to be a dupe of Stephanie Humbert Lucas's God of Fire, which is supposed to be this very beloved, really viral mango fragrance. Now, I haven't tried the original, so I don't know how this one compares, but this was interesting. It was a little bit fun. I think it was nice. I liked it. I wasn't obsessed though. I think there are a bunch of God of Fire like dupes out there. I would love to try other ones to see if this is the actual best one, because maybe not. But this one was nice. Now it opens up a very aggressive and sharp coumarin woodiness. It opens up as if it's trying to knock you on your ass. And then it becomes a lot smoother and softer. A sweet mango comes in that's a little bit spiced. There's a little bit of red berries for sweetness. It gets a little bit better. And as the fragrance develops, the mango gets greener and greener. So it starts off like a candied mango, or like mango dried fruit, like that kind of smell. And then it eventually develops into this sort of fresher, greener mango smell with a bit of ginger and some woodiness. There is a freshness about it. I liked this fragrance. I wasn't obsessed, but it was nice enough. There was nothing offensive other than that like really sharp opening that wasn't giving playful or fun or girly, but it eventually becomes that. And I enjoyed that. I wish the candied mango lasted a bit longer and didn't just go away as quickly as it did and gave us the green one. I love a green mango, but that's not what I signed up for. You give me warm spices, you give me ginger, those cooler spices. I want a sweeter mango to accompany all of that, not a greener one. I thought it was pretty. Maybe not full bottle worthy, but a nice experience in and of itself. My least favorite of all of the Paris Corner fragrances, low-key, was Mauj Appletini, which is supposed to be a dupe of Kilian's Apple Brandy. No, this fragrance isn't bad. There's something kind of addictive and interesting about it. Like, it is doing a lot. It is not a balanced fragrance. It is kind of excessive. It's kind of over the top in what it is giving. But I'm not sure it was for me specifically, but it's something, right? Like it smells like overly sweet apple liqueur. And around the rim of the glass, you've done a bunch of warm spices, like cinnamon and nutmeg. So you have this very boozy, sweet apple liqueur kind of smell paired together with all of these warm spices and ginger on top of it, and it's all seeming to like fight one another. Now on the skin, as it develops, it's kind of interesting because a lot is happening. The booziness, the sweetness, the warm spices, they're all coming through. We also get a little bit of the other notes in here. There's some citrus notes, there's some pineapple, but there's none of the tartness of those notes. Like, it's just the candied sweetness of all of them, all kind of competing. They all the notes feel like they're competing with one another. Like, you want like a blast of freshness to take the edge off a little bit. You want some woodiness. You want something to sort of break up that sort of syrupy sweetness that is all you're getting. There's nothing light about it. It's very thick. It's very heavy. And I found it to be like an interesting experience that I think might get better the more you wear it. It also made me more curious about the original because maybe they get it perfectly right. That like perfect balance where it doesn't feel just a little bit overwhelming and it doesn't feel a little bit overwrought and just a little bit too excessive. So I want to try the original now to see if it's supposed to be that way or Paris Corner went left with that shit and just made it too much. So I liked Mauj Appletini as an experience, but it's not something I'd want to have on a regular basis at all. Now let's get into the unisex / masculine fragrances that I tested. I didn't know that's what I was getting, but I got them and I tried them and I have opinions. Now my favorite of the three by a long shot, I would say, is maybe Lattafa's Hayati Gold Elixir. Now this is supposed to be a dupe of Armani Code Perfumo. Now, I've tried Armani Code. I love me some Armani Code. I think it's a very sexy masculine fragrance. This one is similar, but the way it shifts and changes the Armani Code DNA, I think is really successful and very, very sexy, but not in like a toxic way. It's the really like evolved masculine sexiness. Like that is the vibe it is giving. No, it takes a lot of those fresher elements of Armani Code, those citrusy elements, and it sort of makes them slightly sweeter and slightly heavier. And it's just like a nice presentation. Even the sort of woodiness in here gets a little bit sharper and darker and harder. And so what we have, instead of having this sort of like fresher, balanced fragrance that we have with Armani Code, that more aromatic fragrance, what we have is something that's a little bit heavier, sexier for nighttime, a little woodier, darker, and a little bit sweeter, all at the same time. I think this smells really just a sexy and alluring. So it smells like a date night fragrance where you are wanting to give that kind of like energy. I think this is a really beautiful one. I would definitely like gift this to somebody because I think it's just done very, very well. As an Armani Code like lover, somebody who's literally gifted that fragrance before, I would buy this over Armani Code, low-key. I preferred this. I think even though it's not as fresh, aromatic, and just sort of traditionally masculine in the same way, it holds on to some of those darker elements and then changes up some of the other ones to give us something a little bit different, my second favorite in this category was Versace's Hawas Ice. Now, this is a dupe of Rabanne in Victus Aqua. I've not tried Invictus Aqua. I've tried Invictus before. Really like that fragrance, even if people say it's played out, it's just been done so much. But this is a dupe of the Aqua version. This is living up to the name. It's a cool, fresh fragrance. It has a lot of citrus notes like bergamot and lemon coming through. There is a very heavy musk. It's not a white musk. It's a very heavy musk in here coming through. A little bit of amber. That driftwood in this is making the woodiness feel dry, a little bit salty. It is very fresh. It is very bright. There's somebody who wants to smell clean with a little bit of an edge. That's giving freshness, cleanness, soapiness, citrusiness, brightness in the sort of scent profile, with a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a heavy wood in the base that makes it feel just a little bit more masculine and a little bit more like aggressive. I thought this one was a great everyday fragrance. I thought it was very approachable, nice smelling. It wasn't too masculine. It was fresh enough. It was bright. It was lovely. I liked smelling this one. I do love a fresh fragrance, especially like a citrusy fresh fragrance, and this hit all the marks very nicely. And I think heading into that sort of cooler territory, like cool as in coldness, versus giving us something that was very warm. I thought this was really nice, especially for summer months or for places where it stays hot for a lot of the year. I really liked this one. I thought it was very successful. The last fragrance I want to talk about is supposed to be a very feminine fragrance. It's not, it's a lie. It's from Ardal Zafran. It is Habibat Kalby. It's supposed to be a fruity fragrance. It's supposed to give us rose, lily, berries. There's supposed to be grapes in here, vanilla, tonka. It's lies. It don't smell like that, y'all. It smells like warm spices, woodiness, and very sweet fruit. It heads into a very masculine territory, but it's also super confusing. The fruits in here, the berries do come through. They're sweet, they're sticky, they're a little bit overwhelming. And then we have this very dark, oody, earthy woodiness. They say it's sandalwood. It's not sandalwood. That is not sandalwood. That is some heavy ass oud if I've ever smelled that before. And then that is doused just heavily in incense and in warm spices. The fruitiness in here smells almost minty. It smells like there's camphor in here. So even the fruitiness just smells a little bit medicinal. I was not loving this one at all, especially because I felt a little bit catfished. It's one thing to tell me Versace Hawas Ice is masculine and I go for it anyway. Or you tell me the other one, Hayati Gold Elixir, is a dupe of Armani Code Perfumo. I know that's a masculine fragrance. You tell me this is rose, lily, berries, and grapes with vanilla and sandalwood, and I show up and what I got is oud, incense, warm spices, and a topes of fruit. I can't. So Habibat Kalby Ardal Zafran is... I don't even know how to judge this fragrance. it's just not something, it's not a scent profile that I particularly enjoy. I don't love camphor smells in most fragrances. The warm spices are overwhelming. They tricked me with the oud from the opening all the way to the dry down. I will never forgive that, calling it sandalwood. This was not for me at all, but there were some successful ones in this category. This just was not it. Have you subscribed? You know you want to. I want you to, so just go ahead and do it. This is just a friendly reminder because I'm a giver, obviously. Now let's get back to the video. So the last category is everything else, fruity feminine fragrances that are not Paris Corner, starting with my favorite of the bunch, and it's Afnan Supremacy Purple. Now, shout out to my girl Nisi who put me onto this fragrance. You knew I was gonna be all over this fragrance, and you were absolutely right. Now, this is a peach pear fragrance with some orange, some bergamot. There is a very light vanilla, some musk, some amber. They don't say there are florals in here, but I get a little bit of cloudiness and powderiness in this fragrance. It's very light, something like violet would give, maybe even a peony. Very pretty. It is really giving understated girl next door. There's something very like sweet and sincere about this fragrance. There's a little bit of tartness, just a little bit of freshness to this fragrance. It isn't trying too hard. None of the notes here are really pushing the boundaries, creating something crazy. Everything blends together well, works together well, and plays together incredibly well. But it's just all of these really lovely like stone fruit and citrus notes coming together in a way that I think work really well and give sweet without feeling too young. I very much enjoyed Afnan Supremacy Purple, and it was definitely my favorite in this bunch. But I'm going to jump to the next one, which I really enjoyed. I just don't think it's full bottle worthy for me, but I would recommend it to other people. And it's from Armaf, and it's from the Club de Nuit line. Now, they went out of their way, y'all, to give us a Herba Pura dupe, but it's Herba Pura with oud. As if we needed Herba Pura from Jeanique to be more aggressive. Like, it's already aggressive AF. Like, why did we need oud to be added? I guess somebody wanted that, so here we are. Pear, we got some peach, we got some passion fruit, we have, I think, some pineapple in here. We have vanilla, we have musk, we have amber, we have a lot going on. The notes are very similar to the original Herba Pura with just the addition of a very aggressive oud in here, making this fragrance, I think, I would say that Herba Pura is a unisex fragrance. I would say that additional woodiness and that additional oudiness pulls this into a more masculine territory. Now, I have a couple of fragrances from the Club de Nuit line, and they tend to be great quality fragrances that Armaf takes their own approach to the fragrances they are duping, and each of the ones that I have smelled, including their Baccarat Rouge 540 dupe, is one of the best that I have smelled. I will link my BR 540 video for y'all if you're interested. It is in that video, the Club de Nuit Untold fragrance that went viral because it is such a fantastic dupe of BR54. They just do very good dupe. I have a dupe, their dupe of Delina Exclusive, Club de Nuit Imperial in the white bottle. Fire, one of my favorite fragrances, hands down, in my whole collection. It is giving, and I still love it. And so this fragrance, it lasted, it kept going. I washed it off after 12 hours. Great quality. If it wasn't for that extra oud, I would be so happy to find a beautiful Herba Pura dupe, but that's not what we have. We have a much more masculine version, which is basically what I said about their dupe of BR540 Untold, that they took most of what makes BR540 fantastic and they just made it more masculine. They added in some elements to make it more masculine. I did the same thing with this one. So fantastic fragrance, just too masculine for me. Comes pretty close to the original except for that heavy duty oud, which I just cannot abide. I cannot do it. So my third favorite, I mean, the next two aren't great. Let me just say that off rip, y'all. So the next fragrance from Fragrance World, and it is Cherry Incense. It's a dupe of Tom Ford's Cherry Smoke. But they did something weird here. It sort of feels like they took some elements of Lost Cherry, the more popular Tom Ford fragrance, cherry fragrance, and mixed it with some elements of Cherry Smoke. And it lands in a place that I don't think is super successful. Like, I don't think it's terrible. It's not egregious, but I don't think it's good. So what they do is they basically take the sort of foundation of Lost Cherry. It's very similar in sort of the smell, but they've changed the texture to make it lighter and airier, not as thick, not as creamy, not as tongue-cut-y in the vibes that it is giving. It is a lot airier, it is brighter, it is more open, it is lighter on the skin, okay? And then they introduce all of this sort of what's supposed to be incense smoke to make it feel sort of more elevated and sexy and closer to the cherry smoke fragrance they're meant to be duping. Except the incense in here is just not that sort of spicy, warm incense smell, but it's also not giving like wood fire or cigarette smoke. It's not giving any of the types of smoke that I think work. Instead, what we have here is this sort of chemically, sort of petrol on fire kind of smell. It smells like burning plastic in a lot of ways. And so that burning plastic plus that airy cherryness over top just does not mix well. It's like the cherry can't cover up the bad of that smokiness. And y'all know how much I love smokiness in fragrances. I will abide all kinds of smokiness. Like I will accept and tolerate all levels of smokiness if you give it to me. But this one was just this weird plastic on fire kind of smell, which was just not pleasant. No, that smokiness doesn't last a whole long time. We get to a kind of woodiness and sort of flat, airy, sweet cherryness as the fragrance develops. So it ends up in a place that is fine. There's nothing really wrong with it. And we only have this sort of in-between sort of time period where it goes left, but it corrects itself eventually. The last fragrance, and I think my least favorite, maybe not overall, because that one from Ardal Zafran, taboo, is probably from Codlage, and it's the Proposal Special Occasion. My like very I don't know, petty mind was like, oh, this is not special occasion worthy. This is like, it's a struggle day and this is what you reached for. Like, it's giving struggle, y'all. It's not it. They claim this is a fruity fragrance that is mostly like raspberry and grapefruit, and it's supposed to be fresh and a little bit sour and just bright, special occasion, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be giving that, but it's not that. It's a very severe jasmine fragrance. It is a soapy jasmine. It's very heady. It's very overwhelming. There's a very dirty patchouli in here. It smells like it's from the 80s. They did not prepare me for that. You promised me fruity. You promised me raspberry. I jump in head first, and what you give me is soapy jasmine and a whole bunch of patchouli and some musk. I was not prepared for that. Like, none of the fruitiness really comes through. Is a little bit of sourness, but that's it. There's nothing else there. So it was not a special occasion fragrance at all, but there is another Codlage fragrance from the same line, the Proposal Date Night, which I am hoping is giving more than this. That's supposed to be the floral fragrance of the two. This is supposed to be the fruity one. It was not fruity at all. It is a jasmine heavy fragrance that smells like it's from 1984. That is the vibe of this fragrance. Like, it's not offensive if you like that scent profile, and sometimes I'm into that scent profile. I was just a little bit salty because that's not what I signed up for. That's not what I came to do. And y'all threw that at me. No, if I'm in a better headspace and I try this again and I'm like, oh, so much jasmine, I love her, I will report back. But in this moment, as I sampled this fragrance, I was like, what the fuck? Codlage. Like, no, this is not a special occasion fragrance, because even in the best of times, this is not a special occasion fragrance. This is I gotta go to work and deal with people fragrance. That is what this fragrance is. But I'm hoping Date Night is better, because that is clearer in terms of intention than special occasion, basically. So if you were to ask me, what are my favorites from this scentxpedition experience? I would say Paris Corner Pear Potion, for me personally, depending on the price, I'll put it on the screen if I can find it, is full bottle worthy, because I love a sweet, fun fragrance at a discount. I also think Afnan Supremacy Purple, really pretty when I'm feeling like my softest, most feminine self. Like, this is a fragrance I would spray myself down with and go forth into the world. So those are my two favorite. I think the best two that I am just sort of loving right now. I liked Mango Bliss enough to want to explore dupes of God of Fire from other brands, but not so much sold on this specific one. And I also now want to go check out Maj Appletini's what it's duping, which is Apple Brandy from Kilian, to see how the original actually smells, because the dupe has intrigued me. So generally successful scent expedition video. You know, it was a vibe, it was a lot of fun. And I have more scent expeditions to come. Like I said, the next one is on floral Arabian fragrances, because I have more Arabian samples to get through. And I will come to y'all with that as soon as I can. I hope this video was helpful, useful, fun for you. If it was, why don't you put a like down? Why don't you comment? Why don't you subscribe? I would appreciate that. That would be amazing. If you already subscribed, I love you for being here. You're so lovely and make all the right life decisions, and I appreciate you. Again, I'm Jeanique, and I do not gatekeep. If I find me some beautiful fragrances, I will bring you the tea every single time. If I find me a deal, I'll come tell y'all about it, because I'm a giver, like I told y'all. I'll see you in the next one, y'all. Bye.
And if I'm being honest, I thought I'd really lost it. I save all these stories, these love songs, the things I never said to you before.